Holy Week. And when I was growing up and I was going to church, I think we celebrated Easter. We maybe recognized some of Good Friday. I know we didn't look at Monday, Thursday. And I don't really know what this is all about until I started coming here to Sharon and participating. And over the years, what it's helped me do is understand Easter a little better and understand that on Easter Sunday, when we get up and we're all happy and rejoicing, why we're doing that. What I'm hoping today is that you and your family, if you're watching this, you are talking about what these days mean. You know, what is Monday, Thursday? What is Good Friday all about? So I'm going to start today by reading from the book of Matthew. While they were eating, Jesus took a loaf of bread, and after blessing it, he broke it, gave it to the disciples, and said, "Take and eat, this is my body." Then he took a cup, and after giving thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will never again drink of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." When they had sung the hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives to pray. Think about what Jesus is doing in this week. He's come to Jerusalem on Palm Sunday with a parade and people cheering him on and people plotting against him and all these things going on, really disrupting the city. And then he shares a meal on Passover with his disciples, his friends. And at the end of that, he makes that covenant with them that this is my body, this is my blood. And then he tells them that essentially he's not going to see them again until they pass away into his Father's kingdom. What is that? How hard must that have been? That you are promising something greater, but they're going to have to watch you suffer in order to see that happen. And I don't know if they completely grasped the gravity of the situation. You look at Peter, who's like, "Wash my whole body, Lord," or "Wash my head." And then he denies him 3 times. And then Jesus even calls out Judas as the one who's going to betray him. Think about that, how hard that was too. And I don't know that they quite understood what was about to happen. On Monday, Thursday, we celebrate foot washing as an act of service. We celebrate that Jesus was willing to serve others. He wanted to do something for them out of love. And we also celebrate the Last Supper when they made that, broke the bread and drank the wine. And normally we do First Communion here at Sharon on that day. And so that's one of the things, you know, that has been postponed or put on hold for now. But Monday, Thursday is about mourning. It's about looking at your life and looking at your friends and saying that, you know, I may not see you again. I have to go do something that might keep me from you. And whether they understand it or not, that's what he's telling them. And so they go out to pray and he gets arrested and we head into Good Friday when he dies. And so I'm going to read from that as well. This is from Matthew chapter 27, and it is verse 45. From noon on, darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. And about 3 o'clock, Jesus cried with a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani." I'm not good at pronunciations yet. That is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of the bystanders heard it, they said, "This man is calling for Elijah." At once, one of them ran and got a sponge and filled it with sour wine. He put it on a stick, and they gave it to him to drink. But the others said, "Wait, let us see whether Elijah will come to save him." Then Jesus cried again with a loud voice and breathed his last. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, the rocks were split. The tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. After his resurrection, they came out of the tombs and entered the holy city and appeared to many. Now when the centurion and those with him who were keeping watch over Jesus saw the earthquake and what took place, they were terrified and said, "Truly, this man was God's son." Let that sink in for a minute. my God, why have you forsaken me? Why is Jesus saying that? It's a heartbreaking line because you can interpret it several ways. Is Jesus losing his faith? Is Jesus in agony to the point where he doesn't know what he's saying? Why does Jesus feel like he's been abandoned? Is he talking about everybody around him? Why has God forsaken them? I don't know. It's up to your own interpretation, but it's a hard statement to hear. It's something that I ponder from time to time quite a bit, actually. Jesus is human, and I think we forget that sometimes. Jesus was God made flesh, sent to earth to die for our sins. Jesus knew what the deal was when he came. I think when it got down to it, he had a very human reaction, just like any of us would. He cried out for help. He felt like he'd been abandoned by his friends. He felt like he'd been abandoned by his Father. And it's really hard to watch watch unfold in the book or read about. You see how human God and Jesus can be sometimes. All through the Bible, if you look at God and his reactions to the people and his love and some of the things that God does, you can see that God has some very human emotions sometimes. And in Jesus, you see this man who seems to be, this infallible person walking around and doing miracles and teaching and, just doing all the right things and showing unconditional love. But then in the end, he tells his friends goodbye. He dies and he feels abandoned and sad. And so you can relate to Jesus very well in this moment because he's very human. So it's Holy Week, and it's kind of a down week, right? But there's hope at the end, right? Just like there's hope at the end of at the end of all the things we're going through right now. So I encourage you to watch our Maundy, Thursday service and our Good Friday service and Easter Sunday. And I hope that you can feel that connection even though you can't be here right now. And I encourage you to read one of the gospel stories and read about Jesus' life this week. And it really helps drive home why we do these services. Like what are we getting at? What are we trying to convey? What do they mean to people? And what do they mean to you? So I think it's really, makes Easter week special makes Holy Week special when you read these stories and really dig into them and try to put yourself in the shoes of the people in the stories. So that's my segment for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe. Take care of each other, and pray for each other.